find truth and preservation of our soul shine. I can feel it, yours and mine. Close your eyes and witness it inside. In your bones, you will know. Trust and let go, and let it flow.
Welcome to another amazing episode of All Things in the Name of Love. And today I have with me my dear soul brother, Ethan Catlin, who I've known, I feel like we've known each other many lifetimes, but like in this lifetime, it's been probably like, I don't know, like pretty much after I got into Shasta, I guess two and a half years ago. I don't even know, because it just feels like it's been seamless the whole time. And we were just talking before we recorded about how to really balance the need to serve and serve self. And so I want to welcome you, Ethan. And I'm so grateful you have the time to do this with me. And I'm sure we're going to have a fun conversation.
Thank you for having me, sister. Yeah, I know it hasn't been that long, but ever since we met in Shasta, things move fast.
Yeah.
And connections, the synchronicities, and the growth and expansion that we've all had together, it's been exceptional. So a lot can happen when you're following that flow in spirit. Surrender.
And Shasta is like such a vortex for like, oh, you want spiritual growth? Here you go.
Yeah. So you were talking about what we were sharing earlier, and that's in how we balance out in the service and giving to others.
Yeah, because right now I'm in a space where, I'm in a new community, and given my own health experiences, I've been really pulling in to do self-care, and my tendency is to give to the exclusion of myself. And so now I'm learning, like, my tendency to like, I'm not going to offer to help until I fill my cup up. And you were saying that you're trying to learn that balance between physical work and your work at Soul Connection Center and your self-care, which is a whole lot. And you're way more extroverted than I am. So it's interesting to get that perspective from somebody who, well, your family is very connected in Shasta, and you're a major figure in Shasta. And how do you balance that, or how are you learning to balance that?
Well, it's been a journey for me in the last almost 2-3 years, but it wasn't until I got back from really taking my journey away from Shasta to really get that, to really get that. I didn't get it before, for a long time. I was always feeling like I had to be a part of every conversation, that I had to be at every event, that I had to meet everybody, and I had to be the soul connector for the Soul Connections Community Center, and I had to connect these pieces to this this community that's grown here, and introducing people and meeting more people. And then I took some time off, and I went to go travel. I even spent some time, I lived somewhere else. And, so I was able to come back with a new perspective and know that, whereas what we were talking about before, it's that in that surrendered state of letting go and that flow, we can always trust that whoever we're supposed to meet, wherever we're supposed to be, and it's always perfect, and it's always divinely aligned. And I was able to let go, like what you're doing up there in Orcas Island. It's like that surrender experiment. I came back and I started to explore more just receiving, and less trying to do everything, less trying to make these things happen, and being content with less. And then the quality of my experiences were so much more, enriching, because I stopped. I wasn't, not that I wasn't connecting, but I was going out less. I was I was trusting, I was honoring myself. So that was the part where it's like I took more time for me,
Mm-hmm.
and stop having to go out and find something, allow myself to attract everything that is
Mm-hmm.
like with, where I'm supposed to be. So yeah, it was that point where I really resonate with your journey.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really fascinating because like I was pretty social down there. Um, I mean, for me, I was pretty social. And here, the only the only beings I want to be social with are the trees and the plants and the animals. And I know two people that I speak with, like my housemate and her friend Ezekiel. I've spoken with Ezekiel 3 times. I'm like, that's a lot.
Mhm.
I mean, and everything else is like the trees are talking. I'm like seeing the magic of all of wildlife on a deeper level, and I don't really have any desire, which is fascinating to to use this phrase to interact with the two-leggeds as much.
Mhm.
Um, because the richness of everything else, like there's a that's caught my eye. There's an eagle that's fishing outside from where I'm staying right now. I'm like, that's like what could possibly like what other than a conversation with you, like what, because I know how resonant we are. Like there aren't many things to me that would be more fascinating and heart opening than watching that. And I'm not sure if that's just my soul like trying to recalibrate me so that when I talk with humans again, I can be um more authentic.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, I feel that we can be much more ourselves because we're not trying to fit into everyone else's story,
Mm-hmm.
fully with our own story, like in a way that what is Ethan want right now, instead of having the obligation of showing up for all of these, especially in a social dynamic of like, where am I? There's all these circles that I'm, wanting to connect with, and all of
Mm-hmm.
these meetings that I'm wanting to go to. But first off, how can I fully show up authentically, fully, if I have not taken that time to really ground with like, where am I supposed to be? Where do I want to be? You
Mm-hmm.
know, what do I want? As an empath and a very sensitive being like we are, I feel like we can get lost in other people's energies.
Mm-hmm.
And, a lot of people, and we're all doing it. I feel like we're all kind of pulling and on each other's energies, and we
Mm-hmm.
don't know. But once we take that time, which what I've began to find when I'm in nature for 6 hours and I'm working, if I do that every morning, spend 6 hours to myself, like you said, the things that really liven me, sitting on that mountain and just being still between work. And then when I come back in the community, I feel like, yeah, I'm much more content with where I'm at, and much more trusting in who I'm supposed to meet. And I feel more guided to, that inner yes, to where I'm supposed to put my energy, that inner, yeah, it seems like I get my power back, but it's
Mm-hmm.
take that space for me.
Yeah.
Like, you take it to the extreme and just like going, don't know anyone, and just being in that journey, just that leap of faith to not knowing, like, where am I going? Where am I going to stay? Who am I going to meet?
Right.
Without, um, what I'm exploring is how I can do that every day, with, having deep roots and community here, but then where can I have that little adventure every day? And that's
Mm. I love
what's
that.
my little 6-hour retreat.
I love that. No, that's so important, because like when we give ourselves that much time, we really can connect deeper within ourselves. I've had, like, my intuition has skyrocketed since I moved here. And like there's a redwood in a little community called Olga that I met 3 weeks ago. And she talks to me like, when I met her, she literally, she felt all the energy of all the trees that you had, that I connected with on your land. She pulled me back like this, and it was on my tippy toes for 20 minutes, leaning into her, because she was receiving something from me. And then I finally was able to pull myself free, and I did a wolf breath with her. And I heard from her very clearly. She's like, "You're going to be meditating with me weekly." I haven't quite gotten there yet, but the first time I went was last week, and she, like, I was worried because it was on public property and I wasn't sure if I should contact anyone, and all those stories, right? Because we all have stories, and like, is it okay for me to do this? And so I got to her and she said, "I asked you to meditate with me. I'm older than anyone on this island. You do not need permission from anyone else." And I was like, "Oh," and she said, "And that's for the land, that's for the water, that's for the animals. If that being wants your attention and wants your commitment to it, doesn't matter what the signs say, what anyone says, they want to communicate with you." And I was like, Okay, because I never heard a non-human that clearly with that much direction. It's like, no, all those things that we're taught, right? All those layers of permission, and like it's like this fine line between manners and rules. And Redwood said to me, "Those human rules, yeah, honor them if you need to, but like, really, if someone on that land wants you, you go visit it." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Because she's calling me into a deeper understanding of, like, the non-humans need attention too.
Mm.
And if they're giving you permission, I'm not flouting anyone. I'm not trying to like disrespect anyone, but like, if the tree, the 500-year-old tree, is on your property and it wants me to come visit, I'll probably say, "Hey, that tree wants me to come visit, just to let you know, I'm not going to hurt anything, but I need to go visit that tree." I've never heard anything like that before, but it's because I'm tuning into hear more. And there was some medicine for the two of us that I'd never experienced before with a tree, because I'm giving myself that space.
Wow. That's incredible. The depth of your experiences
Thank you.
since really being with that intuitive guidance,
Yeah.
nature. Wow. I have to say, I've never heard it quite explained like that. But it's really inspiring just to fully be in that mode of connecting to the unseen and to the unheard, or as much as this our regular interactions with the, as you say, the two-legged. It's like this human life, this human way that we interact with the world, to go to a deeper level of connection to
They
the
want
land.
us to talk to them.
Oh my gosh. This isn't something that I've been deeply calling in. I go to trees, and because I have a very deep relationship to the trees, and for me, I started out when I first came to Shasta. I think I was like 12, and I started an outdoor school I was going to this apprentice program for primitive earth living, not survival, but living, fully thriving on the land. This was my John Brown Jr.'s work. And this was my introduction to Mount Shasta, was being in this headwaters. And with that, my old teacher at the time was like a mentor for me. Like he was that mountain man that I'd always romanticized about, like the stories of Hugh Glass and Jeremiah Johnson, with the men that just up on top of that mountain and totally attuned to the land. That solitude, that peace, that and that inspired me to be close to the trees, because he was very close to trees and would teach us how to grok the trees. I realized I hadn't done that in a while, but now that you're reminding me, this is what I was showing me. It's that in meditating with the trees and the grokking was a way of really attuning to the land in a deeper way. Like you're saying, they have things to tell us. The earth, it's always communicating. It's always present with us in the signs that we miss because we walk by and we're looking for a phenomena. But like in Shasta, we're looking for the big mystical experience, but we've missed it. Walk right by the trees and we see the little things in nature that we can start to appreciate.
I've sat and watched the sunset go down for 2 hours. I've never done that.
Yeah. Oh.
It's like that's what. So you mentioned a word that I haven't heard before. Grocking. What is grocking?
Grocking was a sort of meditation.
Okay.
But what the intention behind that meditation that we were taught was to sit with your back up against the tree and root with the tree and become. That's what it is. It's emerging. It's becoming with. It's a really deep meditation method.
It's cool.
Like grocking comes from the Druid tradition.
Okay.
That's shown to me, because my mentor at the time, Tim Corcoran, was he was Irish and deeply connected to these traditions in Ireland.
Wow.
And that's it's a simple explanation.
Okay.
It's a meditation on becoming. It's a meditation on merging and consciousness of that being that is the tree in this particular case, or any of the devas. So
I'm gonna try
it's merging with the tree.
Yeah.
And then even these messages, which is what I'm hearing from you, like the tree is calling to you and you're answering that call, you're feeling that. And that's why it came up for me. But that's interesting. My relationship to the trees, you're really inspiring me by sharing that story, because I've had this long journey and I'm coming full circle back to the tree. And I've come so far to having connected, having seemingly disconnected, and then reconnecting and understanding that I have much more of an appreciation and a depth to now, after having been a timber faller for all those years. And
wow.
Now I'm feeling like they've always been talking to me, even if I wasn't necessarily rocking, meditating, but I've always been in service to the trees, rooting the trees. So being I
love that. I love that. Yeah, the sense I'm getting, especially where I'm staying this week, is how deeply nature wants to connect with us now. Like when I was on the ferry coming over, I still haven't seen the orcas yet, but I felt them. And when I'm on the ferry, I like my heart is like, I'm on the ferry. This is amazing. The rest of my body's like, what the like, because they're like, I'm scared. Like I just left the last person I knew and I'm going off on this adventure. and like it's a ferry. Like I'm on an island, and I heard the orcas say, "Oh my gosh, she's on the ferry. She's finally doing it. Oh my gosh, we've been waiting for her.
Mm,
She's coming." And their native name is, I'm going to say this so wrong, Quillamansion. I'm going to have to look that up. So they're not orcas. They're definitely not killer whales. They're the people that live under the sea.
mm. The people that live under the sea.
Mm.
Wow. It says people.
Yep, the Salish tribe considers them people under the tree, under the sea rather. And when I heard that, and I met a native who showed me a video of it, and because he's a videographer on Lemmy Island, and he's like, "I want you to like just watch this one," and I was like, "Oh, I get it, I get it," and I've always been drawn to that style of artistry, like of
Mm,
all the native art, and then in the United States, that particular tribe is the one I like the most.
mm. Wow. The
Yeah.
way connection was that a particular tribe there where you are that is really connected to the whales that you've
Yeah, it's the Salish tribe.
yeah. Mm,
And they used to live on all the islands. They actually did a canoe around the islands. This is their third year doing it. And they stopped in on Orcas, and we had a potluck with them, and we got to meet the young braves who paddled around in a canoe on the ocean in between islands. I'm like, okay, that's impressive. That's impressive. I'm just going to bow in deference to you. But I was able to feel into their energy, and like there's a kinship. Like I feel a kinship to the redwoods and the sequoias and the cedars here. I just call them my kin because they are. And it's just so it's beautiful because like there is Lemurian energy on this island because
mm.
because I'm here. There has to be a Lemurian energy.
uh, hmm. And it was shown to you before we talked. You were telling me about some stories. There's some lore and myth around that island.
Yeah, there's this well, there's lots of like this is an ancient this area. There's about 100. There's 100 or so islands in between here and Canada, and my phone regularly tells me "Welcome to Canada" because I'm so close. I'm like,
Mm,
no, I'm still in Washington, even though the line is really blurry and it doesn't make any sense. But the tribes had different like I know blah, blah. Tribes use all the islands. This island has a bay called Massacre Bay. I think that I'm supposed to go to that land and hold space for it and transmute the energy.
mm,
There are beings of light on this island. I'm finding them slowly.
mm,
And for me, it's like the land feels magical. Like it has a Shasta energy to it, except it's an island as opposed to Shasta. So it's very curious to see what's going to unfold with that because I just feel it.
mm.
And I can feel my play coming out more, which is really nice too.
I felt when you said curious and what'll happen, that I felt the play of the adventure,
Mm-hmm.
the not knowing, and that's exciting.
Well, I got my park pass today and I was just like, I am free. I have a park pass. I was like, okay.
And explore any of the parks there.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
there's like 4 parks on this island, but like I now am able to visit any state park in Washington. And then separate from that, there's a Northwest Forest Pass, which I have to get when I'm going to visit the national forest places. But like I'm excited because I miss hiking, and hiking up here is magical.
mm, mm,
Oh,
yeah, hiking anywhere, hiking
true. True.
out, and there's that connection again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, finding more and more since doing the tours uh, that
Yeah.
nature does all of the teaching.
Mm.
If we can hold that space of like for our own experiences, letting go, but also with guiding to others,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and the need to really deliver that experience of having to teach anybody anything when we're already in this place of harmony and perfection,
Mm-hmm.
this place with the trees that we enter into, that we're talking about. It's available to all of us,
Mm-hmm.
and we're just not listening, but they're always communicating with us. They're always showing us exactly what we need.
Mm-hmm.
And and I felt that whether we're just going on a hike or whether we're intentionally going out and having a ceremony of connecting intentionally with a tree or grocking, meditating, it's yeah. I felt one point I did a tour, it was weeks ago. And for this particular tour, I was just guided like you
Mm-hmm.
to go to a tree, and I showed him a bit about grokking the tree and about the wolf breath, and we stood there when we were sort of just setting intentions and just meeting. And my client leaned up against the tree and had his hand on the tree, and then he sat there and he looked around, and we just took a minute, and I didn't say anything, and all of a sudden he just started flowing with this, you know yeah, what was coming up for him in his life, and where his connection to nature, and where really that's where he felt clear, and we just explored that. And by the end of that conversation, I don't think I said hardly anything, but he was having a conversation with the tree and he didn't know it,
Mm.
to memory, and he was connecting to all of these things. But it was grounding because, well, for one, we've taken our shoes off, so we're grounding and connecting to the tree in a very intimate way. We're hugging the tree. I mean, we're in it. But then I kind of just stepped back and said, the tree is going to do all the work here. The tree is transmuting. The tree is grounding, holding the space that we. It's really holding the space.
Mm-hmm.
All I had to do was invite that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just go here and let's be with this tree. And he started to have his own healing, just going through this. This is phenomenal. I'm not really doing anything but holding the space with the tree.
I love
you
that.
know? And I've noticed that again and again and again. The trees, this keeps coming up for me. How profound the trees are in our journey. How much the records, the memories, and the information that they have for us, and to take to receive. And I think that simply being present in nature is enough.
So downtown is beautiful. It's this cute little touristy kind of town, and there's flowers planted all over the place. And every time I go down, I sniff the flowers because they're there.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't seen, well, the kids will follow me. The adults are like, what is she? I'm like, they're here. They want to be smelled. They're showing themselves, and they want they want to be seen, they want to be appreciated. And I'm so sorry if you're hearing something snore, because it's the King Charles Spaniel that I'm sitting, and I took him for a hike today, and he's he's out.
Oh. Oh.
He's getting really loud on my end, so I'm not sure if you hear him.
No, that's funny.
You know?
Mm.
So, yeah, it's really just, or even watching birds fly, or like I've gotten, like with my grounding, I I take my shoes off, but then my hands want to go in too. And sometimes I saw this really cool technique that I've done once, where you lay down, belly down on the ground, and then you put your cheek and your ear on the ground, like this, and just lay like that for a few minutes. And it's like such a deep level of grounding. It's electrifying.
Hmm. Hmm. Wow. Oh, it's like giving the earth a hug.
Mm-hmm.
Put your arms out and just
Mm-hmm. She appreciates it. I know that.
Hmm. Yeah. Or even just appreciates the thought. If we just say, I want to connect, I want to see, I want to hear you,
Mm-hmm.
and setting an intention goes a long way. And
Mm-hmm.
lay on the earth and see if it's what the experience is any different.
Yeah.
Laying on the earth versus saying, I'm hugging the earth, or taking your shoes off, and instead of just walking, being with every step and saying, I'm kissing the earth with my feet, with every step I take softly,
Mm-hmm.
like making that an intention, I think changes our whole experience.
When I bring the intention of kissing the earth with my feet, I slow down so much, because my feet literally want to kiss the earth. And I can't kiss the earth if I'm going bing, 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 bing. But if I go bing, bing, it's amazing how dramatically it changes how I show up.
Mm, mm, yeah. Yeah, it's all these little exercises that I've been exploring more
Mm,
in how we show up. And
mm-hmm,
it's simple, the simplicity. It's like the kissing the earth, the mindful walk in nature,
mm-hmm,
the noticing a tree from a different perspective.
mm-hmm,
Really, I think coming back, well, to how exciting the world was when we were children,
mm-hmm.
really bring us in back into that space
Yeah.
if we can really set the intention to just play and be and to love her and to listen to the trees, and
Yeah.
then we notice things. And yeah, it's like the play of the nature. It's especially right now in Shasta, everything is so beautiful,
Mm-hmm,
and we take that time for ourselves to be in nature and like shut shut the world off, leave your
mm-hmm,
phone in the, take your shoes off, and really just connect. It's like we we look for all these practices, and we're always looking for the next thing that can, you know, or the next teacher or the next practice that will ground us. And we're all just trying to come back to center.
mm-hmm.
Right. That I find when I'm really present, even noticing an ant on a tree and being with that. And it's like the more subtle, the smaller, the things that we often miss, the little things,
Mm-hmm.
have potential to bring us to peace, because that's the moment that we have to be more attuned, more sensitive,
Mm-hmm.
and in this place of stillness to receive. And then the other things, when we go back into the world, you know, they're so much clearer to us. And I feel like we're much more attuned to that inner guidance. but the nature has a way, and it doesn't need any words, doesn't need any guides. As a guide to nature, I am always saying, how can I just get us this far and then get out of the way?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, she'll teach you everything.
Mm-hmm.
You have to let go, and it's like you have to be like a child, and that playfulness, that innocence of like just being and just exploring the
And the
adventure.
wonder, the wonder.
Oh, like the wow. Stop
Mm-hmm.
tree. They said, the way that we label things, the moment that we saw it and we learned it was a tree, we stopped seeing for what it was, and it was just.
Mm-hmm.
But if we could remove that, even that, you know, to a child before we even taught it, you know, taught
Mm-hmm.
the child a tree. They
Yeah.
said, "Oh, the label, that's a tree." But you don't know the tree. There's so
Right.
much.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. Because they're just it's it's like the above ground version of mycelium because they're so interconnected and they talk so much and we don't appreciate, like, I know when I was guided to connect with those trees on your family's land that I was bringing some medicine up here. I don't know what the medicine was, but it's been received because I could
Mm.
feel the transfer. And I remember like walking on your land, like, oh, this one wants to talk to me. I don't know,
Mm.
but they
Mm.
know. They're like, oh, this one needs to do this for us because we have some messages for our friends up north.
Wow. When you look at it like that, it's like we're just gritting for the earth, and
Mm-hmm.
that has this infinite intelligence, like
Mm-hmm.
like the crystals.
Yeah.
Record keepers are like exchanging information through us.
Mm-hmm. We don't have to know what it is. In
But
fact,
you,
I certainly don't know what it is. I just know it is.
yeah, you said I want to serve, I want to connect,
Mm-hmm.
and now yeah, you're sitting with trees and two different sacred sites connecting the grids, and this is wow.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's really amazing because normally up in Portland or down in Portland, that's so weird to say down in Portland, there's a grandmother cedar that was my first tree mentor, that I really spent a lot of time with. And when I was heading up, um, I tuned in and she was like, no, 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 you have enough. You don't need to stop and say hi to me right now. You need to carry the energy from Shasta up to Orcas. I was like, but I always visit you when I'm in Portland. She's like, no, you don't need to this time. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
your mother Cedar, but she's not there. I'm the energy I'm bringing for her is on Snow Lake, which is south near Issaquah, and I have to go hug that tree and then bring that tree energy down to her. It's just interesting. Like, no, I don't need those trees. I need this tree. I'm like this walking conduit for them, and it's delightful because it's bringing that wonder and that play in because I have no idea what I'm being. I mean, I know I got the tattoo of the cedar frond for some reason, and that was for them. It wasn't for me. So having it, they already know I have it, and they know my commitment to the kin. So they're just using me as a conduit for them to bring things that they can't carry on through their ground network.
Mm-hmm.
And if I was talking to anyone else, I think they think I was insane.
No, it what I was thinking about was, maybe what if they can, though? What if maybe maybe this is as much for you, is it
Mm.
what you're exchanging,
Mm-hmm.
and being with those trees this way. I've heard stories and this feels true, how one tree is every tree, and this quantum entanglement, this, the nature of the mycelium network, and how complex and how much it expands through the planet, and just consciousness of the trees. Trees would carry messages remotely from the story that I was shown, and it keeps coming up when you talk about that, was how the shamans in South America would send messages to the medicine men in the north, and that they would go to the trees, and the trees would carry these messages that they'd be communicating these, whether it was like certain points in our evolution as a species of, understanding, like there were certain things that were happening all over the world with, tribes that had never connected with one another, like, inventions, throughout human history that I think leads into this idea that there's this collective consciousness, and remote. It is without any time and space. We're all connected, like the trees, and that they would intentionally, though, these shamans and the medicine men would intentionally have these relationships to the trees, much like what you're explaining to me in your experience. And with that, the trees were carrying messages through them for them. But was it really for them or the tree? And I think that the trees are far more intelligent than we can even understand, give them credit for, them being that, like us, like the whales who can sing a song and never, other side of the planet, they're singing the same song.
I know. It's
and
so
I think
magical.
And I think the trees are the same way. I really feel that. And I feel those stories, which are stories, but they feel true, because when we understand this, the frequency and vibration and the quantum entanglement through one and the collective, and it's all the same. We're all, and through the trees, I wonder, just maybe it was more for you, and maybe the trees already knew.
I wouldn't be the least bit surprised. I wouldn't, because when Grandmother Cedar woke me up to how deeply I could connect with trees, what I did was, in my garden there was a shed that the former garden manager lived in, and they were going to tear it down, and her children were around that that structure. And I wrote to the city of Portland. I said, I will tie myself to those trees. You are not going to touch those trees. They're part of a family, and you're going to, I don't care how you take the structure down, but you're not touching the trees. And I was like mama bear Viking coming out, protection level of these trees, because Grandmother Cedar had helped me so much. And that night she came to me in a dream, and as a thank you, she showed me all of the plants that went into all of my essential oils and how happy they were to work with me. And I woke up crying. Because I'd never really appreciated what goes into essential oils. But those plants that went into the essential oils that I have were so happy that I was the one that picked them. And I was like, how did she know that would be the thank you? Like, how did she know how impactful that would be for me? Because I was taking care of her children. Like, she saw it. She felt my love for her and her children, and she wanted to be, hey, this is my gift back to you, because we see you as something more than just the two-legged.
Oh, that's profound. Hmm.
Yeah.
And you work with the essential oils often in your healing and with your clients or with the animals? Have you been called to
I was I
that?
was called 3 years ago to buy a bunch in carrier oils, and I asked why, and they said you'll find out. And I'm
Mhm.
still wondering what it is because I do make things on occasion, but most of them are still down in Shasta because I only have my car with me and I could only fit so many things.
Yeah.
My car, you know how small it is.
Yeah.
But when I head back down, I'm probably going to head down in July and retrieve other things. So yeah, they will be
Mm.
part of it because I miss them. I miss like I only have about 13 or 14. I'm like, where's my friends? They're not with me. It's kind of like a phantom limb kind of level of missing. And it's not attachment to, but I know objects that we perceive as third dimensional have consciousness to them. My car talks to me. So I know that the essential oils are part of my family in ways that sound in a lower frequency, like I'm attached to them, like I need them, but it's a kinship. And it's the same with my table and a couple other things. It's like it's not because I won't live without them, but they're my friends.
Mm. Mm.
So it's a very interesting state of being when it's like, yeah, I want to keep them, but not for the reasons, like not because it's a cool thing, but because it's my friend and it wants to have a relationship with me.
Mm. Wow.
Yeah.
And everything has a consciousness.
Mhm.
Oh. Mhm.
It does. It's really bizarre. It's like because we have this perception, we have this illusion that objects like this mug um is just a mug, but somebody imbued their energy into it. I don't know if it was, mass produced or individually made, but regardless, somebody created that design in the first place. Somebody put the object in motion to make it, and that has consciousness to it. It's imbued with somebody's energy, and it's imbued with the minerals energy that created the clay and the heat and the everything. So it has consciousness.
Mm. And memory,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
especially carries the memory of all
Oh,
the time. And yeah,
I can't go in
yeah,
museums.
that's really. You said
I can't
you
go in
can't
museums. No, I can't because the
go in.
energy is too much for me. Because all the objects carry the energy of their humans, and I get overwhelmed.
Mm. Mm.
I'm special.
Especially sensitive to
Mm-hmm.
truth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's memory as well. Keeps the records,
Mm-hmm.
the
Very much
growing
so.
objects, not inanimate,
Mm-mm.
live.
They're just moving at a
Wow.
slower frequency than we are.
The vibration, it's just vibrating slower.
Mm-hmm.
But hmm, makes me look down the road. I'm thinking about all of the relationship I have to each one. And then wow, that in and itself is a profound meditation. Just to appreciate the things and where they, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
where they come and everything that went into everything. It's really profound. Uh,
Yeah. Mm. Well, I always enjoy connecting with you.
Likewise, sister.
And I so appreciate your time. And I'm going to ask, we can still talk after this, but for the podcast, is there anything else you would like to share?
Hmm. Well, in light of our most recent conversations, I just want to shine the light on you and honor you for your journey to Orcas Island and what you're really showing to me. It's that demonstration of that full surrender experiment that we referenced. It was really profound to witness you leaving Shasta, witnessing the journey, being able to check in with each other and be able to hear it unfolding for you, and just to be fully showing up for yourself, but then being able to be in that flow of just what's showing up in each moment. And yeah, I'm inspired by watching your journey.
Thank you.
There. And,
Thank you.
yeah, really speaking to me about Michael Singer's work, and it's brought a lot up for me too. And yeah, I just really want to honor you for being on that journey.
Thank you. It's been expansive for sure. It's been very expansive. Like, okay, I'm gonna surrender to whatever, but like it's such a gift because it's allowing me the gift of being on levels that I had never given myself permission to. Yeah.
To giving yourself permission to go to those deeper depths, whether it's with the trees, whether it's with a person, it's with yourself. The interactions with the people are imbued with a deeper level of awareness because you've taken time to honor the you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're a pioneer.
Thank you.
Letting go.
Thank you. I graciously receive that. Thank you. It is a joy and an honor to know you and to share this time with you. Thank you so much.
Can you help me redefine truth and preservation of our soul shine? I can feel it, yours and mine. Close your eyes and witness it inside. In your bones, you will know. Trust and let go. And let it flow.